I made it to Forbes.
Yo, what up guys? It's your boy Williams Fitness back again with another video, and we've got Xavier on from Desktop Bodybuilding. Those of you who don't know or haven't heard of Desktop Bodybuilding, you're obviously living under a rock. Xavier has pretty much burst on the scene over the last, year or so now with his content, and I would highly recommend you obviously go over to his channel, drop him a sub, check out the content he creates. It's very different, it's very unique, it's not the same sort of stuff that most of us do with the voiceovers, and he's got a brilliant grasp on not just the industry but the things that go on behind the scenes also. Now with that all said and done, Xavier, what we're saying about the Arnold Classic Ohio, what are your predictions? What do you think? Do you think there's going to be any hurdles, any hiccups? Do you think anybody's not going to show? What we saying, bro?
Mate, I just want to say thanks so much for that intro and your kind words and stuff. I appreciate it. I've been watching your channel as well. So it's awesome that you shot me a message. And I was actually watching you at the time, and I commented on one of your live streams, and I was like, nah, I've got to, I wanted to get in contact with you anyway, and you messaged me. I was like, perfect. So we just basically just jumped straight on here, and we're doing this now. So the Arnold Classic 2020. Now the lineup I've got here, I don't know if that's the complete lineup or not. It's got Lionel Baiki, Max Charles, Big Ramy, Dexter Jackson, Johnny Jackson, Steve Kuklo, Josh Lenardowitz, Victor Martinez, Cedric McMillan, Patrick Moore, Sergio Oliva Jr., Akeem Williams, and Rolly Winkler. Now that's the old list. So that's on the IFBB Pro website. Now we've got a few names out of there. We've got Rolly Winkler, who's out now. Yeah, mine's good. Yeah.
Okay, so the two, obviously, rather than doing obviously we'll do a prediction between us. I'll give mine, you give yours. I want to touch on two people that I think we're going to look pretty cool, stood side by side. One's Johnny Jackson.
Can I guess?
Go on then. Yeah. Go on.
I was going to say two guys that I'm actually thinking about doing a video on at the moment is Sergio Oliva Jr. and Patrick Moore, because I think everyone is very, very heavy on Patrick Moore right now. And Sergio, I think, based on what he looked like leading up to the New York Pro when he actually won that contest, I think he's looking dramatically better now. And things I've heard coming out of his camp, that this is the first prep he's had that's gone smooth. And, he's done great in the past, and he hasn't really had a proper off season, which is something he said as well. When he has had a proper off season, I think he's going to come in at his all-time best by far, which is better than a New York Pro winning physique. So I think he's one to watch out for, and a guy that's sort of flying under the radar a little bit at the moment. I mean, everyone's talking about him a little bit, but I think he's still flying under the radar a bit.
Do you think he's going to place top 5?
I think around that, you know what I mean? I think he's going to be around that 5th, because people are saying, Patrick Moore will be easy top 6. And Patrick Moore does have a great physique. He's got a small waist, but some of his body parts don't flow, I don't think, as well as some of these other guys. I wouldn't even say Sergio flows perfectly either, but I just think that Sergio's arms looking so crazy. I think he's going to be super, super hard, because I've heard he's pretty much in conditioning now. It's 6 or so weeks out, and he's got Chris Cormier watching him there. So we know his posing's probably going to be on point. He's actually living with Chris Cormier. I think there's a lot going for Sergio right now, as long as there's none of these muck-ups in his personal life that tend to sort of derail him in the past.
No comments.
What's your thoughts on these two guys?
Mine actually wasn't them. I've got Patrick on at some point this week, so I'm doing an interview with Patrick.
Beautiful.
I've got some questions about him and Phil. But mine was actually, I want to see Victor Martinez and Johnny Jackson next to each other, because those two are not like an underdog card, but I think, given obviously Johnny's past, Johnny's the sort of the bulk guy. I don't think Johnny's ever really flowed. He's always won from the back, 100%. Yeah. But with regards to striations and separation and things like that, Johnny's just never done it for me. Whereas Victor is sort of like the bipolar opposite of that. But I think with Victor as well, he never always gets shit dialed in time. I think he's always either 2 days too early or 2 days too late. Same with around Cedric McMillan always does the same sort of thing. And obviously we all know he's Arnie's favourite. But those are the two that I want to see, just because they've been out for so long. I know Victor did a bit last year, but I'm not counting that as shit. That was nothing. But from Coach Tal, who is Big Ramy's manager, I've got some sneaky photos from him for Big Ramy, and I think, and I hate to jump on the Ramy hype train, I think he's gonna fucking win it. Like, the shit I've seen, I'll send you some pictures that you can't use, okay?
Perfect. Happy with that.
But honestly, it's phenomenal, honestly. But so from that, then, who do you think? Let's say, okay, you pick your top 5, I'll pick mine, and then let's pick the top, say, 6 to 10.
Okay, let me have a quick look at this list. Can you do your top 5 first? Because I haven't got my top 5 listed right here.
My top 5, I'll always pick William for number 1 because I'm fanboying on William anyway. I love William. I speak to William all the time. So I'll always have William picked for number 1. I know I shouldn't, but he's my number 1. Ramy second for me. I genuinely think it's going to be a toss-up between Dexter and maybe Cedric, if he's even going. I mean, is he actually fully confirmed? Like, he's
on the list, and now he's got that sponsorship of Redcon 1, so I assume he's prepping. I did see a photo a while back. I don't know if this was a public one or not. I can't quite remember, but he was looking like he was prepping to me, but I'm not 100% sure.
That's the thing. He's so obscure. His social media is so quiet all the time, and then a random video will pop and be like, is he doing anything? So yeah, I think a toss-up for 3rd place between Dexter and maybe Cedric. And then I think 4th and 5th, I've got to pick Diasha for 4th just because he's homegrown. Whether he'll get 4th or not, I think he'll be happy with top 5 in this lineup. And then maybe Patrick Moore for 5th for me.
Yep, for sure. That's a nice top 5. I like it. So I'm going to go through mine. I'm going to pick Big Ramy to win, partly on what you just said about seeing the outrageous photos. So I'm going to say Big Ramy to win. I'll say William Bonac. William Bonac is a guy that he just comes in, like, he's something else in person as well, because I saw William before he really hit it big, and it was sort of the first show where people were like, wow, this guy is a contender going forward. And it was when he competed in Australia against Sean Roden, and he got second to Sean Roden. We had Chris Aceto down in the front row and Neil Hill down there, both yelling, like, Neil was like, go William. And then Chris was like, it's yours, Sean, it's yours. So those two guys just yelling. It was so funny. It was like, they're both saying, you're number one. And then it was, really cool battle. I love that. That was so cool. But William, like, I was like, looking at them side by side, I'm like, Sean Roden should win this, but I'm like, William is dense and hard and just so packed full of muscle, but it still somehow flows. Now, if he's not 100%, I don't think his physique flows. It's nice, but it's still in person. I think it's something different actually seeing these photos and whatnot as well. So I think he's very, very impressive and very dangerous, as we've seen on the Olympia, the Arnold Classic stages and whatnot as well. So William Bonac in second, but if Ramy misses it, William Bonac's winning this, in my opinion. In third place, that's where it starts to get a bit tougher. Maybe like, I'd say probably a Dexter Jackson. I think he's done really well. At the Tampa last year, he seemed to bring his legs up, which is mind-blowing for a guy who's about to turn 50. It was more not even bringing him up. It just seemed like he had better separation, maybe just a little bit fuller. And I know he's using that newbie that Brad Rowe promotes and everything as well. So that's seemed like it's worked for him as well. So I'll say Dexter Jackson in third. In fourth place, I will put, who have we got on this list still? So he's got a lot of good guys, like a lot of guys that are close, like Steve Kukla, Josh Ladowitz. You got Cedric, you got Sergio, you've got so many good guys. A guy that's actually underrated in this lineup is Akeem Williams, who I thought brought his all-time best to the Olympia or close to it. He's very, very good as well. I'll put in fourth place. I'm going to put Sergio. I just think he's going to just shock a lot of people here. So I'm going to say Sergio in fourth, and then in fifth, I'm going to say Josh Ladowitz if he shows up on stage. I think he'll be battling for that spot. And people forget that Josh has placed, third in the Arnold Classic before. He's placed top 10 in the Olympia twice as well. And he's just, if he nails his conditioning while still having that enough fullness, I think he's just so insanely dangerous. And maybe it's that I'm a bit biased, but I'm doing his competition in 3 weeks time. So, and I talked to Josh as well. So I am biased, but I do hope Josh actually makes it to the stage, because he has had those health concerns as well with, the tumors literally growing inside his head and having to be removed. So I love Josh and just sending out all the love to him. And I hope that he's able to compete and do what he loves, because he loves bodybuilding.
I think that's a pretty decent lineup, to be fair. And again, with Josh, like you say, fingers crossed he can actually get on stage. Even if he's not in brilliant condition, just just for the fans, just so we can see him doing his thing. That'd be just ideal.
1 sec, I forgot Nathan Diasha. I'm putting Nathan Diasha in 4th and then Sergio in 5th. My bad.
Right. Okay.
I suppose we've got Nathan in that lineup because he's not.
Yeah. Same 4th. Yeah. Okay.
We'll have to check back on these results.
So obviously we've both found out today that Arnold Classic is now coming to the UK too in 2021.
Yeah, amazing.
Thoughts on that? What are your thoughts, Xavier?
I think it's really cool because the UK, you've got the British Grand Prix there, which I think is actually amazing that that's back. I think it's very, very cool. And those guys that promote it seem like they do a really good job at hyping it. I mean, we had Samson Dowder, who I know last year, saying that, are you coming to beat Nathan? And he said, yeah, of course I'm coming to beat him, and sort of created that hype. They did that little press conference, which I think they could maybe even take up a notch as well going forward. But it was a first year back, and I think they did an awesome job. But adding the Arnold Classic UK, I think that's going to be massive. And you actually just told me about it. I had no idea. So that's huge news in the industry. And I think it's great for bodybuilding that the Arnold is expanding. I mean, there's only going to be one real Arnold Classic that, is the Arnold Classic, which is Columbus. But I love that it's expanding worldwide. And they're really just, these other Arnolds, I'd say they're just a tier down from the Arnold Classic in Columbus, but they're still a higher profile than the average show. So I think that's massive. And obviously the Expo is going to draw people to the UK, and it's only a good thing for the industry, I think.
Well, inside scoop on that, it's actually Eddie Hall, who's part owner now of the Arnold Classic UK. So Eddie Hall, I think, just dropped a video literally about an hour ago. He is now part owner with Arnold, and there's one other guy who does these, these meet widths where you get like Stallone and you pay like $200 or whatever. You go and like see them on stage and that. I think
we have those come to Australia a lot.
Yeah. So he's one of the promoters. I think that's going to be huge because obviously Eddie's like making big waves recently, not just on YouTube, but on Netflix, social media. And he's obviously branched out from World's Strongest Man, which I think is cool for the industry. But I also thought it'd be good for the Arnold Classic in the UK for people like Hadi who can't get to the States, and maybe it'll raise a profile better for, like, I think was it Dennis James said a while ago, there's a lot of like serious contenders in Iran at the minute that just can't get out of Iran. So I think for that, like you say, if we can't get these guys to the Ohio, maybe we can create sort of a pedestal within the UK to sort of level these guys back up and get them, get some like real decent shows. Thoughts?
Yeah, that's brilliant. I think it's awesome if we can get big shows outside the US that we're able to get guys like Hardy and whatnot too. Do you know when this show's going to be, the UK? Because if it's just after the Olympia and a lot of guys go over there and we see almost like a second Olympia and just with Hardy in the mix, I think that'd be so cool.
I didn't even think of the time. No. I don't even think Eddie mentions it in this video. It just says 2021. But that's a good point because like you say, it's all down to timing and they've obviously got to cherry pick the shows for obviously get their competition prep in line and ready for it. So obviously the Ohio's ideal because they can prep and it's the beginning of the year. It sort of gets the ball rolling. And then some people miss a lot of the shows in between just to get ready for the Olympia. But yeah, timing for that. I mean, hopefully after the Olympia would be ideal. But then you've got like, is it the EVLS Prague comes after, Yamamoto Cup? I can't think what are the others.
We used to have a huge amount of shows after we used to have like the Arnold Classic Europe or something. We used to have the EVLS or whatever it was. Used to have it seemed like about 6 shows post Olympia, and quite a lot of them paid really high as well. And we sort of missed that last year, just gone. I mean, we had I think one show that paid decent after the Olympia, and then it was just sort of, like 30 grand shows, 20 grand shows. And we didn't have those 100 grand or 120 grand shows. So I think it's sort of some of the guys were like, no, I'm going to leave it this year. So we didn't get as much of that participation from the top guys post Olympia, but I'd love to see that circuit go on again. I loved it actually a few years ago when they were doing it, that we saw some mixed up results. So we saw one week Dexter Jackson was winning, next week Sean Roden was winning. One week Big Ramy won, next week Dexter won. Like, I thought that was really cool that, these guys can vary slightly. And because they're all so close, when we're looking at the top guys in the world, I mean, there's not going to be, Ronnie J, that sort of thing. They were sort of killing people. But now it doesn't seem like there's anyone that's so far ahead. So if we saw an Olympia from last year or something, and we see Brandon Curry coming a bit bit more off or something, one of these post-Olympia shows, we see Hardy come in razor sharp, then he could knock off the Olympia champ. And I think that's really exciting. So I'd love to see that again. I'm not sure exactly how the contest calendar looks this year post-Olympia, but I think it'd be really exciting if we did see that again.
100%, 100%. So, I mean, what else is there? What else is going on in the world of bodybuilding?
What's going on in bodybuilding? There's a fair bit going on. I mean, I'm just trying to think because there's a lot of news videos. We've got the Phil Heath Breaking Olympia coming out, and that's pretty exciting because that's going to be on Netflix. Apparently, it's going to be a series. So that's some pretty big news. Yeah, so he interviewed on, I believe it was Muscular Development with AJ and Giles on there, and he basically went on to say that it's going to be on Netflix. It's going to be, he said, hopefully in about a year or just over, but it's going to be sort of finished. And I don't know if he meant it's going to be released then or if it's going to be filmed up to that point. But he said, there's a lot of speculation on what the Breaking Olympia title means. But I think it's just going to be a lot of almost following him around. And then, it's just basically going to be on Phil Heath, in my opinion, because the actual guy who is producing this, he approached Phil, I think, 2 years ago or something. So they were going to do something regardless. So I don't think it's like they're just doing it because he's going to skip the Olympia and do the Rock show or whatever. I don't really know what the deal is, but I do think that Phil will probably compete this year and it's going to be something around that or filmed around that. And then I'll probably release it after that. So I think it's exciting. Okay,
so
good.
Obviously touching on the Phil Heath, I genuinely think he'll compete this year. I'm not like trying to jump on the bandwagon, but I genuinely think if he competes this year, and obviously the Rock show isn't until next year anyway, is it?
It is this year, I believe. It's in Atlanta about a month after the Olympia. I'm pretty sure it's this year, yeah.
Oh, okay. Have we got any lineup for this yet? Has anybody confirmed?
No, it is. I've heard through people even know that it's invite only. I have heard a lot of the names that are invited, but I literally cannot say because I think I would get in trouble. But yeah, I have heard some of the names that are apparently invited from what I've heard. Yeah, well, I can't, to be honest, I can't even remember some of them, so I'd have to actually scroll back through some messages from people. But yeah, no, there are some names. It is invite only, so you're not going to be getting, just random people competing. So it's much like the Arnold Classic. You can only get invited. And actually, something interesting, they're going to have an amateur comp attached to it as well. And I actually heard this just at the posing clinic I did for the IFBB Pro League Australia, just on the weekend. And basically, the amateurs have to qualify. So it's the top 5 in each division from each country. So 5 men's physique guys, 5 bodybuilders, 5 figure girls, 5 bikini girls from each country. And the way they actually qualify is not just chosen by the country or whatever, because it can probably get a bit biased or whatever with people with no judges or whatever. But basically, they accumulate points competing as an amateur anywhere around the world in the NPC worldwide, and then the top 5 are tabulated from each country, and then they qualify to be able to go compete in Athleticon. That's what I've heard.
Wow.
I think that's really cool. And we haven't seen anything like this. It's almost like the actual amateur Mr. Olympia. We see amateur Olympias around the world now, because it's got that branding. But this is almost like a proper amateur Olympia or an amateur Arnold Classic that is, the number one, I suppose, goal for an amateur bodybuilder or competitor.
That is pretty serious stuff. Wow.
Yeah, I like it.
I think, that makes it very, very interesting now, because obviously it gives these people not just the ability to, have that stage set out for, a later date, obviously, but it's something to try and achieve to get to. It's not just, I need to win this show. It's, I need to win this to get to here. That's pretty awesome, especially for amateurs. So I take it there's no announcement on purses or anything like that yet, so as to like prize money and stuff.
I've heard rumblings. I mean, I heard when Dexter Jackson and Jay Cutler were talking to Mike Rashid on that podcast. I mean, that was when it first sort of came out about the whole show, the show that's going to be around, and no one knew who it was by or all that sort of stuff. And there's speculation everywhere. And, he was saying that I think Mike Rashid said something about it being up near, when these guys getting paid $1 million. And Dexter Jackson said, this show's getting close. And I don't know if they're talking about total purse, if they're talking about just the winner getting near $1 million or 500,000 or whatever it is. I have no idea, but I think it's going to be a decent purse. I think The Rock will want his name on something that's probably going to outdo something like the Arnold Classic, in my opinion. I don't know that. And I did hear something else as well, but it's going to be equal across men's and women's. Now, to me, I'm like, there's no set number one, I suppose, women's division these days, unless you want to call bodybuilding the number one division. But I don't know if they would have the same amount of prize money for female bodybuilding as they would men, because it's just not going to draw the money in. So I'm not sure if it's just equal amount to the women's divisions, if they're going to have all women's divisions compared to the men's, or what they're going to do. But you know, if it was near $1 million for the winner of the men's open and it was doing the same for women's, I think that would be insane. But it doesn't make financial sense.
It's not the big draw, is it? It's not. Yeah, it's not getting the people in. Do you think then, with the Rock show, do you think that'll reopen the platform for women's open bodybuilding for the likes of like Iris Kyle and stuff? Do you think that could be a possibility?
Women's bodybuilding is coming back. Is it this year it's coming back to the Olympia? I'm not too sure, but it is coming back because Wings of Strength, they're the ones putting up all the money for it, or a lot of the money for the Olympia, with big sponsorship, which I think, you know, it's great that they're doing that, and they have a passion, and they're like, we're putting tons of money into this so we can bring back women's bodybuilding. So good on them. I don't know if it will ever get back to where it was in the past, just because we do have women's physique now. We do have figure, we do have fitness, we've got bikini, we've got wellness coming as well. So we've got that 5 or 6 women's divisions. So I never will think that women's bodybuilding will be by far above all these divisions like it was in the past. I just don't.
Did you see that new males division? Was it? I think it was in Australia. Once there was a show in Australia, and they had to come out, the men did, in suits.
What was the question again?
There was a category that came out.
Oh yeah, there's the suits.
Yeah. Okay. What was that? Have you seen it?
Yeah, that's embarrassing. That's not in the IFB, the NPC, anything like that. It's basically in one of these much smaller federations. I think in a natural federation as well. And it's strange. It's just I don't like it whatsoever.
So what are they trained for? Like just to look good in a suit?
Well, that's one of the categories. So they have categories where it's like, swimwear, so they'll come out in shorts, and they'll have a category where it's you know, I don't know what they call it. To be honest, man, I don't know what they call it, but they come out in suits. There's the women do it as well. And I'm like, and I've actually seen photos, and, you know, they'll be tanned up for their like bikini round or whatever, like in, you know, comp tan. And then they come out in their dresses and stuff. And it looks like they're just like the makeup's overdone. Like they're too tanned to look normal in a dress. And it's like, and the guys are the same way as well. So I'm like, I just don't think that works. So that's a weird thing. That's embarrassing.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Off the top of my head, man, there's not much. I mean, I'm just want to do, I hope you don't mind, I'll just quickly plug what I'm doing at Desktop Bodybuilding. And obviously, you know, people that are listening on my channel as well, I encourage you to go actually follow Williams. It's Williams Fitness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, follow, subscribe. It'll be in my description as well. I'll put a link to your YouTube channel as well, because you are one of the guys I listen to, and there's a lot I don't listen to now because it's just a lot of, how do I even say it? It's just a lot of...
Just say it. Just put it out there.
You know, there's a lot of fluff out there, and I think...
a lot of shit.
Yeah. And there's videos that have been put out, I think, you know, like clickbaiting is one of those things that's out there. And I've been accused of clickbaiting before of people, and I don't think that my stuff is too clickbaity, to be honest. I mean, I might say something and put a question mark on the end, and people say, "Oh, why are you saying that?" I said, "It was a question," and I literally asked the question in my video, and I was like, "I don't see how that's clickbaiting," but I think people are very sensitive to it now. But some people just literally abuse it, and we see that out there. But there is a lot of fluff, and I don't even want to necessarily say crap, but there is some crap out there that I'm just like, people just literally saying this is the Rock cycle, and they will just guess. They'll literally say, he looks like he's probably taking this and this and this. I'm like, man, I can guess that. Like, what's the point of that?
You sound like Dave Palumbo.
I do.
Just trying to guess what people are on. He's like, he's on 40 IUs of growth a week, and it's shut up, Dave.
I think it's just ridiculous that people just guess what people are on. And I think, like, man, some of these people can actually probably get in some sort of legal trouble as well. These are celebrities that, you know.
Why even go down that road of trying to guess what someone's on? Even trying to guess someone's diet, you're probably way off.
Yeah, exactly. But people watch it, so I don't know. I try to put out stuff that I think people will enjoy, and that my channel will have staying power. So I want people to actually watch a video and go, okay, yeah, that's sort of what I thought the video was going to be about, or he has some interesting info on this topic, or he has a different, or you know, he has different perspectives on this topic, and he's bringing that to me. And I try to put, you know, interesting video and photos and stuff like that over my videos, so people are constantly stimulated, you know. So
Yeah.
I do try to do that constantly. I'm actually thinking, you know, we're doing this sort of podcast situation now, and in some of these I might not really put up much photos and videos and stuff over the top, because it's a long form thing. I'd rather just get it out rather than, you know,
keep it raw.
spending an extra 2.5 hours putting photos and videos and moving photos on the top. It's like, that's for my certain type of videos, but maybe these ones I'll keep a bit separate. But yeah, I love doing it, man. Like, it's something I really love. I actually got glandular fever, or I don't know what people call it around the world. It's called mono as well. I got that last year. It got into my liver. It affected me really badly. It caused, you know, huge inflammation from my liver. I was basically itching myself 24/7. Very, very sick, not well at all for about 4 to 5 months. So I sort of dropped off the face of the planet. People thought I was dead, because that's what happens when you're not on social media, apparently. So that sort of like hurt my channel a bit, but it all this out too, by the way. But basically, where was I at? So yeah, I had another business, and I just went all in on YouTube, and then just my coaching sort of back it up a bit as well. Because obviously, you know, get money through YouTube revenue. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to approach some sponsors and stuff like that for the channel. And then I got sick. So basically my income was killed for a while. And then when I'm coming back, I've sort of got to push myself into training some people and stuff like that to get my money up, you know? So I'm excited to get back into YouTube now. You know, I've got a new baby boy as well, which is another juggling act as well. But I've got, you know, like 11, 12 days at the moment where I've literally got not much else in terms of responsibilities. My partner's away in another country, so I won't be asked to, you know, look after the baby or anything like that. So I've got more time to bust out a ton of content, and a lot of stuff that is going to be sort of evergreen content that I can put out in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and all that sort of stuff. Partly while I'm competing too, but I'm still going to have a bodybuilding news side and all that sort of stuff, interviews and all that sort of stuff.
So Xavier, so obviously you compete, you obviously do your YouTube. So you say you do, is it online coaching?
Yeah, I do online, and I specialize more in posing. So I'm actually I'm going to ask the guys at the Doherty's gym here in Perth if I can pose out of there. But I've got a studio that I do it out of in Perth as well, and I also do it out of my home too. So that's one thing I do. I also do a little bit over Skype as well. Yeah. Just because you can sort of stand back and go, okay, you know, get the other person standing back from camera, and then you can adjust them. So I compete in men's physique now myself. I used to do classic bodybuilding, what it used to be called back then, before it was classic physique. And I won it basically the year before it turned to the Arnold Classic Australia. I won the overall in the classic bodybuilding there. And then now I'm doing the men's physique, which I did the first time last year. And I won the overall state show in men's physique. And then I got second to the guy that won to win his pro card, which I was like, damn, but it was my first time doing it. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm more prepared next time I do it. So and I'm just excited to do it again. And like, I don't know about you, but when the Arnold Classic Australia is the number one thing, everyone goes there. So everyone in the industry goes there. You get to see old friends that live in different states. I mean, I live in Perth, which is the most isolated capital city in the world, bar none. It's right on the west coast of Australia. There's no other cities over there that are, you know, capital cities, and it's the mining state basically, and people, you know, come from New Zealand to live here and from over east and fly in, fly out, all that sort of stuff. So, we're sort of isolated over here, but I absolutely love it, man. Like, I love Australia, and I love going to the Arnold Classic Australia. So, and competing there is just sort of a bonus as well. So I'm very excited for that. And I'm going to get a lot of content around that as well. Interviews with pros and all that sort of stuff too. So it's going to be a good time. And I think we're only, probably 6.5 weeks out of that. So we've got less till the Arnold Classic. How many weeks to the actual Arnold Classic now? Do you know?
Oh God, let me check the calendar.
About 2 weeks prior, I think. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but it is on the 5th to 8th of March. So yeah, we're only about less than 5 weeks away. Yeah. So yeah, it's coming up very soon. So super excited for that. And that's pretty much it from me. Why don't you explain to my viewers what your channel is about and what you do?
My channel, I mean, let's be real. We kind of sort of do the same sort of thing. So we cover news topics. Yeah. We try and get content out there that we try and not to be too opinionated, and obviously but more factual and informative. Sure. With mine at the minute, I've got a lot of interviews lined up over the next week or so. I've just done Chanel, Kenny KO, Dr. Tony Hughes. I've got Patrick Moore on, William Bonnet lined up, loads of other people. But ideally, I want to do more stuff like this. So if we could get some comments below of like maybe if we did do another sort of podcast style video, what people would want us to talk about. If you want me to get some of my bodybuilder friends on and we can do a sort of a three-way, we can do that. We can
spicy.
Yeah. And I'll text you and we'll sort something out. But I've noticed you're very shy, just shy of hitting 10K.
Yeah,
so
just under.
Any of my subs, in fact, anybody who's watching this video, top link, there won't even be a description, top link is going to be Desktop Bodybuilding. I genuinely am subscribed. I genuinely do watch his videos. I did mention him in my live stream the other week. Go over, drop him a sub. And once you've done that, once you've found his info, go over to Instagram and follow him on Instagram also. I will do you a shout out on Instagram, and I will get this video on the GI website as well for Generation Iron. So we'll get that up there.
Oh, my man.
And hopefully get the momentum going with your channel, because I genuinely do believe that it's a brilliant channel. I love the whole concept. I even love the green screen. That's what did it for me. It wasn't before you even spoke. I thought, this dude's got a green screen. There's levels to this.
It's the cheapest setup. It's the cheapest setup. I got this off eBay. It was, how much? I think it was about 10 or 15 bucks. So shoestring budget, green screen.
Mate,
I
levels.
The whole setup. So
there's levels. You're already leveling up from me. But I highly recommend you go and subscribe to him. Let's get into 10K at least. And on that note, guys, drop some comments below. If you want us to do another one, what do you want us to talk about? It doesn't have to be bodybuilding. It can be pretty much anything. And then
even some Q&A stuff.
Yeah, anything. Yeah, we'll do some Q&As. Yeah, ideal. So on that note, guys, I've been me, you've been you. Peace.